y'all? That's the question. Y'all the ones with the you're desiring something.
No, you gotta explain who you are and what you do first, so people know that you're qualified to talk about what you're going to talk about.
Okay, so I'm Lisa Scott, and I am a manifest coach and metaphysician. I have been since 2011, and what I do is help professional women to answer the call to their soul calling career by learning how to stop worrying about the how, which is the number one reason why people don't do what they actually want to be doing versus, what they're compromising and doing. The other thing I do is I provide brain balancing sessions where I assist people to go from state of being or beliefs that they're currently holding that are hindering them from moving forward in their lives. And I assist them to go into what's called a whole brain state, where they're not using one side of their brain more than the other. It brings them into a whole brain state, and they're able to shift beliefs or download a new belief. And in downloading that new belief, they don't question or get up questioning whether or not they have actually downloaded the new belief. I do something called muscle testing, where I can ask the subconscious mind whether the new belief has actually been downloaded, and you walk out with the new belief that you want to have. So you go from what you didn't want to what you want in about 15 minutes.
All right, so basically, who are most of your clients, men or women?
Most of them are women.
So you fix women's brains, right?
Why are you going to say it like that?
I mean, to make it simple.
I fix human beings who happen to be women because they are the people that gravitated toward my work.
Okay.
Are they like the most damaged or something?
No, not at all. No. They're the most willing to get assistance when they need it. So. And I don't even know if that's true. I'm just telling you, they tend to gravitate toward my work. You know, but I have.
So how they come to you? Like, can you help fix me?
I fix particular things. I don't fix anything generally speaking.
All right. So in your expertise, what are you fixing the most in women?
The thing that I specialize in is the subconscious mind.
Oh no! So, what do you find is usually going on in women's subconscious?
Oh no, there's nothing usual. Everybody's
there gotta be a usual.
There's
like a pattern.
I see patterns.
A pattern is something that has happened in their childhoods, but that could be anything. That's not something that's just something that everybody has childhood trauma. Everybody. As a matter of fact, I just did an interview yesterday with a doctor, a male doctor, by the way, that was talking about childhood trauma and its relationship to autoimmune disease. Because everybody on the planet has childhood trauma.
No, you're right. All right, so the reason why I asked him to ask you to come is because, and what I planned on doing, I wanted other men to be here to shoot their questions at you and at her. Okay. So, because y'all have more logic than most women. So, but
when you say more logic than most women, what exactly does that mean?
What I mean is, I have a lot of experience with women. Okay. Now, Khalil might not have this issue because,
I've been married most of my life.
Okay.
No, not even just that. Him and his wife don't argue. They don't fight. They don't argue. They never been divorced. He's never even slept on the couch before.
Argue.
Yeah.
We've been married for 25 years.
But the thing
argue.
is, so I think that's normal and healthy. But what happens is, so most of the time, this is a common thing, not just with myself and my relationships, but what I hear other men say in here is you get into disagreements with your woman, and usually her perspective always comes from something that is
so is it a trigger?
Emotional.
Okay.
Yeah, and they're usually triggered by something that went on, which is normal. Okay. That's common.
Yes.
But when men are trying to address the issue, we want to all right, tell me what your issue is so that way I can address it and I can make it better for you. And then you find, I don't know what I mean. I'm not sure. It's just how I feel. Oh, and then they'll say things like, all right, well, you did X, Y, and Z. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I never said that. I never did that. But I feel like you did.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Right.
See how you rolled your eyes? That's how I do.
Okay.
Right? So my thing is, do you fix that in women? Since you fix brains, and can you? How do you fix that?
Yeah, because if someone were to come to me and say they wanted to have their relationship fixed, my first refocusing is that I'm not looking to fix the relationship. I'm looking to talk to you. Mm-hmm. Because I want to understand what the subconscious programming is that you've received in your childhood that is causing you to have certain behaviors or emotions or whatever that you are not consciously aware of. Because the subconscious mind that everybody is walking around with, not just women, but is responsible for 90% of your day-to-day actions. And people aren't aware of that. So what's happening is you were being downloaded, everybody is being downloaded with information prior to their understanding of, let's just say, something called the I, or identity, which doesn't start to happen till around, let's just say, 7 years old. So from 0 to 7, and even before that, you're being downloaded with the messaging of your household, of your caregivers, of your immediate people that are around you. And what I mean by that is we're constantly taking in communication, whether it's somebody's tone of voice, your parents and how they're interacting with one another, the words they're speaking, all of that is downloading communication into this being.
And so that's where the expectations come from.
That's where the child ultimately is understanding there's a void that's happening, meaning they need something, right? They need something that's important to them, but they're unable to articulate that because they're too young. So let's just say, as an example, somebody came to their parent because they had a something that they drew, right? And they're like all excited because they drew this piece of art, and they brought it to the parent, and the parent just put it to the side. Well, that just caused a situation. It just caused a download that did not feel right.
Usually disappointment.
Yeah, it caused, well, you could call it that, but who knows what that child is calling it. We don't know what they're calling it.
Yeah.
But it is along the lines of disappointment. So they just got downloaded with this information that they're unloved, they're not worthy, they're all kind of stuff just happened. But they're unable to articulate that. But it was important, and now it becomes what's important for the rest of their life. So how they start to try to communicate that in relationships might be to demand that they're seen and heard in whatever way that comes out. But the symptom or the action isn't necessarily what the problem is. Just like you're saying. You're saying they might be saying, I don't know. Well, yeah, likely they don't know because they don't know where it started to begin with. But if you go back to the root of where it started, which I give people the opportunity to do that, because on a subconscious level, you do know, but you're not being given the opportunity or the space and time to probe yourself. Because you're listening to music and you're functioning and you're getting up, going to work. You're doing all these things that you can't hear yourself. But if given the opportunity to hear yourself, you'll hear exactly what the issues are. And in having this continuous interaction with another human being, you're also downloading their value system. You know what I mean? So, everybody is functioning off of their values. Values not meaning morality. Values meaning what you get up every day, you automatically put your hands to do that nobody has to remind you to do, threaten you to do, even motivate you to do. You get up and do it naturally. If you were to stop and think about it, you'd witness or know. I get up every day and this is what I do. Nobody has to remind me. Right?
You sound like me.
Well, when you get together with somebody else though, and you have not assessed your own values, another person can come and try to download their values. So they try to impose their values upon you with you not even understanding what your values were to begin with. And that is the beginning of conflict. When someone is trying to impose their values upon you and you cannot fulfill them, you can't because they're not yours to begin with.
Exactly, I agree.
You're trying to impose yourself upon somebody else. And when that person cannot fulfill the value, not that they might want to, but they can't because it's not theirs to begin with. Their life is their own. They grew up a certain way. You know, you got to take into account all of their life's experiences. And we don't take that into account when we're dealing with somebody else. We just think that we get together and automatically things are supposed to start jiving and all of this. No, it does not happen.
It's very self-serving. Right?
Yeah.
And then now, all right.
On anybody's part.
So I don't want to be.
Well, but let me stop you and say everybody is self-serving to some degree.
Yeah.
It doesn't make it wrong. It just means...
I don't think that's wrong at all.
Okay, I just want to clear up that verbiage.
What I mean is like, so if all right, as I can only really give examples of things I've been through, right?
Okay.
Of previous relationships. My relationship now is great, so let's get that out the way.
Nice.
But in the past with people that I've been with, I give you an example. I met a girl one time, we're kicking it, and I liked her, right? Liked her a whole lot. But I like me too.
Yes.
Right? So the things that I value and like to do, doesn't matter who I get involved with.
Right.
I'm going to keep doing what I do.
Right.
Right? Now, what would happen, women in the past would say, yo, you're arrogant, or you a know-it-all. And I'm like, I'm not any of those things, right? People that know me, like these two, they know me. They don't see me that way.
Okay.
But when I'm not serving your needs,
right.
then now I'm arrogant
Right.
and I'm a know-it-all. He's an asshole. But
Right.
the reality is, I'm just looking out for myself.
Right.
And not that I'm not looking out for you, but I
Right.
have to take care of myself first.
Right.
People don't tend to look at it like that. Now, in the past, what I've learned about myself, though, is that I am to blame for some of that because I don't have to involve myself with people that think that way.
Okay.
So ultimately what I started doing, instead of me demanding, or not really demanding, but expecting people to just, yo, you figure out your own shit, right? I just said, all right, you know what? I see you haven't really done the work that you might need to do for yourself. It's my responsibility to either choose to deal with that or not.
Right.
So now I just choose not to deal with it.
Right.
So, I want to be around healthy people.
Well, it sounds like you're better discerning about, who has that, like you said, ability to be in that that strength, because not everybody can do that. Like I might hear sometimes, you're very confident, or you're very, and it's like, I know what I know, but I don't know what I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, if I have an opinion or a thought, or I know something through personal experience, that's how I know. I know through experience. Then I'm gonna speak on it. But bottom line is, what I hear you saying, what I've come to understand is I refuse to shrink myself for anybody.
Yeah.
Either you can tolerate that or not.
But
I
was going to ask you, all right, so with the other person, when does it come a point where they should compromise, or should they compromise?
Well,
say it was a personality like CJ just said, and it was somebody different. When do it come to a point where they compromise to make it work, or
I'll go into my own relationship because we compromise all the time. So that's
why I said that, because can relationships be just one-sided, or do it have to be like this tug-of-war thing?
No, there definitely can be compromise, but it has to be healthy. You know what I mean? Through communication. And I do have to say that there's times in my relationship that I wasn't getting some things, or you know what I mean? Like I might have wanted something a certain way or whatever, but as I've grown as a person, and I have grown to understand that a lot more of what I was wanting from the other, I could have been given to myself. You know what I mean? So, and because I've grown like that, I'll just use something for example. My husband likes to spend time by himself in the house, right? So some time ago when he would do that and go away and want to spend time with himself, I thought that was a problem. I was like, where are you going? Like, why aren't you staying here? Like, what, you know? Mm-hmm. But as I experienced it and realized, well, first of all, he's only going in the other room or whatever. But you can take it personally. When you don't understand something, you can take it personally. So, you know, as I started to process what I was going through and all of this, I realized, you know, I like to spend time with myself also. Like, I wasn't paying attention to me while I was paying attention to him.
Because that wasn't a value of yours.
Right, exactly. But then as I started to have that grow as a value, me spending time with myself and liking books and all of this, I was like, hey, I really like myself. I like spending time by myself. I like me. You know what I mean? So now when he went away, his value was assisting my value. Now it was a positive thing and not something where it's like, it's a problem. You know what I mean? But initially it was a problem because I didn't get it. Because you was used to having, you know, the attention centered on yourself. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. And exactly. Now, so here's my thing. When I've told people in the past, yo, that's not healthy. Yeah. Right? Mm-hmm. They never understood it because they have that expectation, whether it came from childhood or previous relationships, that this is the way love is supposed to look. This is how it works. I was that way. Yeah. I was that way. I remember you said that last time. I was that way, yes. Mm-hmm. I brought that from my upbringing. I brought it from, and it's not even that was necessarily what was being modeled. You know what I mean? You know how you can take in information and you're making it fit some kind of way. Mm-hmm. So, you know, we're liars to a certain degree too. We're making up stuff. Like, as we go along, we're creating something that fulfills that fulfills That's what women do. Yeah, narratives. That's what women do. Women be doing it. Men do it too. That's what I was going to say. Come on now. I don't deal with men though, so I'm just saying. Oh, okay. You know what I mean? Okay. I'm from my experience. But yeah, I was collecting data. But again, very young. Mm-hmm. You're at a certain point, you are too young to process things in a healthy manner. You know, healthy as related to coming together with somebody else. You're doing it by yourself. So I'm collecting all this data on what I'm thinking marriage is supposed to be and all of this. And when I came together with my husband, all he kept hearing was marriage is supposed to be this. Marriage is supposed to be that. Mm-hmm. And he was like, what are you talking about? Like, marriage is what we make it. Exactly. And I'm looking at him like he got 5 heads because I've never heard that before. Yeah. And but then as I understood that that's true, it's very true, then now we're able to... So expectations is like what really destroys people's reality. It's the root of disappointment. Yeah, it's the root because an expectation is basically your value. It's what you're expecting. And when you're expecting something from somebody else, that's your idea. That's your world. That's your mind. That's what you came up with. But if you didn't have a conversation with somebody to find out, do they have that same expectation or agree or whatever, then you got a problem. You know what I tell people all the time, right? Like, my best friend I have 2 best friends. Chewy, he's a barber here, and my other friend, Samira, she's a woman, right? Mm-hmm. Now, in my past, a lot of women that I would deal with, they never understood my relationship with my best friend, right? Okay. There's a woman. Mm-hmm. Now, but here's the thing. Me and her don't have any issues, right? Mm-hmm. Now, I tell people, like, yo, if you treated your spouse or your significant other the same way that you treat your best friend or your children or your mother or your brother, then you'd have a longer lasting relationship because you don't put those same expectations on it. That's so, for instance, my best friend, she could piss me off. I mean, one time we went maybe a whole year without speaking. Okay. I don't know what the hell I did, but she wasn't speaking to me. Okay. I reached out a million times. She just didn't respond. Mm-hmm. And then one time,
I got into an issue with an ex of mine, right? Mm-hmm. This is in probably like 2014. I don't want nobody to get this confused. Okay. They watch it. But I got an issue with my ex. And my ex came in here and she fucked this whole shop up, right? She came in here tearing shit down and whatnot. And I had nobody else to call. I can't hit her. I can't do nothing. Right, I called my best friend. Mm-hmm. She showed up right like that. Okay. Like immediately, even though we hadn't spoke and I don't know how long. Okay. But she showed right up. Mm-hmm. Because that type of bond doesn't go nowhere. Right? And so what I tell people all the time is like, yo, if you talking to your wife, if you treating your wife like there's an option for her not to be there, then she might take the option. Right. Or your husband might take the option. Right. But you don't do that with your parents, with your best friends, with your children. You can't divorce any of them. Right. And now that doesn't mean that, you know, if somebody's being abusive to you, you probably should get out of that relationship. Right. But if it's something like people not growing at the same rate, that's to be expected. Yeah. Like, you know how people say, you know, we need to be on the same page, right? I tell them, I say, yo, you don't have to be on the same page. You got to be in the same book. Right. You know what I'm saying? As long as you're in the same book, you're all right. But, you know, these two, they've been together for 20 years. They don't fight and argue probably because they understand that they grow at different rates. Right. But most people, they come into relationships and it's like, no, you need to be feeling how I'm feeling. Right. Or you're not doing, you know, and I don't know. Yeah, I get it. It's a headache, man. And I sometimes, like a lot of my friends, they'll see me, say I'm on the phone and I'm going through it with my peoples, right? Mm-hmm. And they'll see me and they be like, yo, why are you doing all that? Just hang up. You know what I'm saying? Mm. And it's not that, I don't do that because they'll say like, oh, you like arguing, you like being toxic and shit, right? It's not that I like that, but I'm more patient with stuff because I want to see the outcome, right? I want to grow with the person, right? But I don't blame other men for saying, man, the hell, I'm not doing that, right? You know, and that's why I wanted you to come and talk because how do you get these women to understand they bugging? You don't. They would have to understand that at their own rate. They would have to get sick and tired. You know what I mean? No, what I mean is in your practice, how do you get again, I go back to the subconscious messaging. Like what's going but here's what's happening. A person wouldn't even see me if they're not ready for that. Yeah. So I'm not even showing up in your energetic space if you're not ready for that. If you're not taking personal responsibility or you don't think it's you or you're not introspective or any of those things, I'm not showing up for you. You don't even see me. My stuff could be on all over Facebook and you still would not see me. Mm-hmm. It's when you start saying, you know what, I got some shit with me, or I gotta pay attention to some stuff or whatever. Then you might start seeing me. Mm. But that's how algorithms work. Why are they so stubborn like that?
Yeah, I always say that either.
Because they don't think they're being stubborn. You said they're stubborn. They're being protective of themselves, is what they say.
Yeah, but you telling them like, listen, you need help.
No, they don't need help. You go ahead.
They don't think they need help. They're not going to seek help. They don't think that's.
But if I'm somebody that seeked help before, and I said, listen, I know what that's like. You need help.
Say you can't tell people they need help. Exactly. People don't, you know.
So what do you suggest? So with your few male clients that you might
I don't have any male clients.
Never had any? Mm-mm. All right. So what would you be your suggestion to men that have to deal with women that are going through this?
To pay attention to what I'm saying right now, that there's a subconscious. But if they themselves aren't being introspective, because to me, it's easier to see what's going on with somebody else when you're working on yourself. Mm-hmm. So that you're not coming towards somebody in a blaming manner, but you're seeking understanding. Mm-hmm. But you just said that when you're asking these questions, they're saying, I don't know. So what difference does that make? Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, you can ask all you want, but if the person doesn't know, then they don't know. But the best thing you could do is be patient. The only thing I can say is there's some things that, you know, you don't want to give in. You don't want to give in on stuff. Yeah. Meaning if you feel like you're compromising your beliefs, you're this, you're that, don't. Mm-hmm. Because the bottom line is the person's not going to see what's going on with them if you're constantly giving in to what's, you know what I mean? Like, that's not going to...
So the girl's just being a brat, and you just giving her what she want. So she shut up.
If you want to put it that way, I didn't say that, but my point is, don't compromise yourself.
Yeah.
And that's all any individual can do in a relationship, is not compromise yourself where you don't want to, because there's places you might want to compromise.
Now,
sometimes people think by express, they say, "Look, I just want you to understand," but I'm not going to understand how you're behaving.
Right.
Your behavior is not going to give me a better understanding of what you mean.
It's not.
So
because they don't even understand.
Yeah, because that is not, you're not familiar with it, because this is someone that, like you said, my values is different from your values. Mm-hmm. So the way I was brought up is completely different from how you was brought up.
Right,
so
right.
I understand how you try to express yourself, because I can't identify it. Mm-hmm. Because the way I live is totally different from yours.
Well, here's something that just came to mind as you were talking. I think that there's a couple of things. I think that as much transparency and questions back and forth as possible before getting a relationship is probably 80% of the battle right there.
Yeah.
I think that people come together emotionally and surfacely, but you're not having the real deal conversation about the conversation that needs to be had. So you end up floating into a relationship and starting to face all these problems that we could have talked about a long time ago. So as much transparency up front as possible. The other thing is, I'm not an advocate of people getting married before like 50 years old. I'm married, and I've been married for 25 years, but I'm not an advocate. And the reason why is because we don't know ourselves.
All right, so
we don't know ourselves.
That poses a question.
Well, let me just finish this.
Go ahead.
Your prefrontal cortex has not even developed fully until you're 25 years old. But we have people getting in relationships before that time. Now, I was challenged by...
You basing that data off a current situation, not...
I'm basing it off a prefrontal cortex is not developed before 25.
Okay.
You're 25 years old when it's fully developed. But people are having relationships before a part of your brain is fully developed. Right?
Okay, now some people would challenge that and say, well, marriage in the past was more successful than it is today. So what was the difference in the
Well, you got societal stuff. You got all kinds of stuff that that would cause.
Society makes us dummies.
But what I was challenged with that question was, prefrontal has to do with cognitive, i.e. rationale and logic. Relationships don't have anything to do with that. They're emotional. But here's my thing about that. You can't separate a human being. So where you're starting out emotionally, yeah, you're right. But you get ready to go into logic. This is why divorce is happening, because at some point you start thinking logically. And you go from this romantic idea of what love is to you're not doing what I need you to do.
Yeah.
So, these things, and I've only learned this after growing as a person. Mm-hmm. But I feel like a great deal of what people are dealing with is that they don't know themselves. So you come together with somebody else, you don't even know who you are yet. You have not experienced life to the degree. You're swearing up and down you know what you're doing, what you're talking about, and you don't. Mm-hmm. We know we don't. We're however old we get, we can look back and say, I'm not the same person I was last year. I'm not the same person I was a week ago. Mm-hmm. So how did you get together with somebody else and think that you were going to have this wonderful outcome? I don't get it.
And I'm going to give you an example, right? Because you're absolutely right. I remember one time my lady said to me, was it her? No. Hold on. No, but she said to me, listen, look, I have a lot of conversations with different women.
Okay.
Right? So, one time she said to me, we was in an argument, she said, you had all these failed relationships, right? You had failed marriages. And to me, I said, well, That's your opinion. I don't think they were failures.
Right.
Right? Now, people think that if something does not last forever,
it's a failure.
This is a failure. I thought I was very successful. Every goal I set out to accomplish in those, and I'm gonna keep it dead on the money, right? They're always talking about, because CJ had 3 wives, he had 2 wives. I did, and when I had it, I was successful in it. Just because I don't have it now,
right?
I don't have it now, so I don't want it,
right? But there you go. There you go with another thing, another value that people have to pay attention to is your idea of success and somebody else's idea of success is not the same idea of success. Yeah. So if we're not talking about that when we come together, how do I know what your idea of success is in terms of a marriage or a relationship when we never talked about it? And then I come and I start telling you what you're supposed to be doing because this is my idea of success. Yeah. But we never talked about it. You know what I mean? This is why I'm saying as much transparency and logic as you can possibly muster up in the beginning of a relationship is what needs to happen because it's going to come out. Yeah. It's going to come out. So you can talk about it now or talk about it later, but it's going to get talked about. You know what I mean? So why not talk about it up front?
No, you're right. It's so, and to me, I think it's easier. Like, I think sometimes people, and it's not just, I'm not attacking women, because men do it too. You just assume that, like, because we do everything backwards. We start off creeping, then messing around, then dating, then live together, then have children, and then the last thing you do is marriage, right? And then by the time you get to that, or wherever you even get to it, you start assuming certain things are supposed to happen just because I'm frequenting you often, right? Okay. So I give you an example,
wow.
Right?
Frequenting you often.
One of my exes, right?
Wow.
I mean, that's what it was, right? I never
like how you put it, though. He was like, I'm frequenting you often.
Look, that's what it is, right?
Okay, go ahead.
So, I had an ex one time, right? This is 2012, right? So before we had got married, we used to mess around. We ain't had no business doing it. We was doing it, right? Okay. So I never get one time. She got mad because she was going to go to work. She used to work midnights, right? And she was getting up to go to work, and she got mad because she saw an earring on my dresser, right? And she got mad. She had a whole little meltdown and got to work, wasn't talking to me. She called me, we ain't gonna talk about this earring. And here's the thing, at the time, we weren't in an official relationship, right? So she just accused me of lying. Because I said, that's my daughter's earring, right? It was a big hoop earring like the one you got on. Okay. At the time, my daughter's probably like 8. So she says, I would figure you say that was your daughter's earring because that's a real easy excuse because your daughter live here. I said, no. If you looked inside that earring, right? Because my grandmother told me, take those hoop earrings off of her in case she's at school and somebody rips it. You don't want to rip her earlobe. Right. But inside the earring, there was another pair of earrings in there. Okay. Right? So I told her, I said, those earrings belong to this other girl I'm kicking it with. I'm letting you know now, right now, I don't have nothing to lie to you about. The big earrings, my daughter. The other earrings is Trina's.
It's the girl I'm messing with.
Exactly. So I ain't lying to you. And now she had this big meltdown, big argument. I said, there's nothing to argue about here. You never told me what you expected and what you wanted. Yeah. Because I would have told you, I don't want that. Okay. Or I would say, I do want that. Okay. But then people get mad. They like, oh, well, I got to be so direct with you. Why not?
So she naturally assumed you.
She just assumed me in a relationship because I'm frequenting you. Yeah. You're coming over here 4 times out the week. That don't mean nothing.
I'm frequenting you. Know what I mean?
Now
that is like hashtag I'm frequenting you.
Yeah. But now.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
But I've never done that. Like, and I don't like when men do that. Like if you're the person you're entertaining me. That doesn't mean I have the right to ask you certain things or to show up at your house or to go through your phone until you tell me, hey, listen, this is what I want you to do because we're around each other so much. Your status in my head has elevated from this to this, and I want to give you these permissions now.
Right.
I'm still not going through your phone. I'm still not going to show up at your house
Right.
because I treat people the way that I want. I don't want you doing that to me.
Right.
But the thing is, it's like people just assume that they have that level of access to you.
Yeah.
Because, you know, we bumping and grinding. That don't mean nothing.
Because you have frequent access.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It's silly. I mean, it's really.
I want to hear from you. We've been just, you know, do you have anything with any of the things that we were talking about?
No, I mean, I get it. You can't just assume just because I think we're together, we together. It doesn't work like that, but people don't realize. I don't know what makes them think that they don't have to say, okay, this is what I want.
Right.
This is how I think this is where I think we are.
Right.
Do you think this is where we are?
Right.
They don't want to.
And do you want that too?
Yeah.
Because they don't want to be told
Because
no.
they told no.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So it's safer to just assume that we in this
and it really
relationship.
isn't safer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
until I find out that we're not,
Right.
then we'll have a problem because
Right.
I thought we were, but you didn't. But I didn't.
So the moment
it
of
doesn't matter.
somebody
That is too
sleep
much
with another
complexity.
person is an assumption that we are together
No, it might not even be
on a
exactly the
consistent
moment.
basis.
But I'm just saying it
When you're
might.
frequenting.
Yeah.
If you do it too good, now if you do a bad job, then
They're like,
Yeah, no
"Oh,
assumptions
then
gonna
no
be made.
assumptions. Gonna be made.
No assumptions are made.
Like, hey, ain't no problem. Ain't
Ain't no problem.
That's fine with me. Let me just get my stuff.
I'm cool.
Right now.
Yeah, no assumptions made.
Hey, you said the doors what? Okay.
Exactly.
People don't. Yeah, it's communication. People just don't.
They don't.
They
Yeah.
don't know themselves well enough to say this is what I want, and they don't feel comfortable with saying this is where I think we are. This is what I want. What do you want? Because then they're scared to lose what they have at the same time. Also,
Yep.
like I might put myself out there, and he might not be ready for this. So
Yeah.
then I'm back at square one.
It's all self-serving.
Yeah.
That's my point. Yeah, I don't like
Yeah, but that scared of losing part is a big thing because
It's rejection.
it's that's what I mean by the work that everybody has to do. Because if you're in a relationship and you're in a space where on a subconscious level you're scared of losing, it's like, is that really what you want? Like, is that really what this is all about? Because then you can't let the other person grow. There's so many things that cannot happen because of the scared to lose subconscious thing that is playing itself out on the inside. And it's really sad, actually, because you want a person to feel fulfilled within themselves, you know, to the point where you don't feel lost like that. You know what I mean? But we all got to grow to that, you know.
Yeah.
But who wants to be in something where you're constantly in fear of losing? But if you're not working on yourself, that's what you got. That's what you got.
Now, if so, you think people shouldn't get married until they're 50?
Yeah.
So what should
Average.
they do up until that point?
Well, you can still be in relationship.
Just
Well,
fornicate.
apparently not. Apparently not. You can frequent. You can frequent. No. But I guess that's the question: is what would people be doing if they weren't worried about a relationship all the time? I mean, frankly, if I knew years ago what I know now, I would have been traveling. My life would look completely different, but I didn't know that then. You know what I mean? Because it was like something missing on the inside, looking outside, trying to get somebody, you know. But I would have seen the world. You know what I mean? That's what I'd be doing.
Yeah.
I'd be having experiences. I'd be making friends that aren't necessarily sexual, but we're, you know, because you're getting to know people. Like, to me, when you're getting to know a new person, you're getting to know a whole world.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that doesn't necessarily look sexual. You know what I mean? Like, you're like in a space of fulfillment and you're looking to understand something different. You know what I mean?
You brought up something, right? That's a good point. And I meant to I was going to ask you this weeks ago and I forgot. No, both of y'all here, I want you to ask, right? It's not really a question, right? But yeah, it is a question. Are women that naive that they think men just want to be their friends?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I would say.
I don't think so.
I'm gonna give you an example. I cut a lot of women hair, right?
Okay.
And I have a lot of women friends, right? But a lot of them, now mind you, I'm platonic friends with quite a few women, right? But my platonic friends, I always say this, right? My best friend and we've never taken it there. That ain't our thing. She attractive though. I won't act like she ain't. So and I tell people, I don't want to destroy. I would never destroy my relationship with her. But if I ever woke up in my bed and she was on top of me, I wouldn't push her off. You know what I'm saying? Right? But I would not. She's not ugly. So I can recognize she's a beautiful woman without taking it there with her, right? But what I've been finding happens a lot with a lot of my friends and my clients. They end up making friends with, quote unquote, friends with men. And I'm telling them the whole time, like, yo, that's not your friend. That nigga wants something. He wants something from
says
you.
that to my daughter
right?
all the time.
And they swear, but no, that's my friend. We're just going out. I had to say the same thing to my daughter. I said, yo, that's not your friend.
Right.
He has a vested interest. Now, what happens, I don't respect men to do this, but it's like, I'll just hang around you until you ready to take it there.
Right.
Yeah. To me, that's just not genuine. That's not a real friendship.
Right.
But
that's true.
My thing is, like, what do you, both of y'all both women, not really why do women do that, but why do they do that shit? Like,
why do they do what?
Why do they accept that bullshit? Like,
so here's the thing.
Oh yeah, why?
They're thinking of it like, I'm a woman. I only see him as a friend. I'm not looking at him like that. This is how I feel like this is. We're just friends. He's not coming at me directly like he wants sex. So we're just friends.
But you know he wants something.
He's not showing any signs of it. He's not acting like he wants sex at all at first. Because that's how they act.
Right.
They act like they don't want sex. They're just your friends. So this is my friend. So I'm not being naive. He's not showing me signs that he wants sex.
No, but once he shows you the signs,
well, that's different.
and you continue to be friends with him, that's the issue.
That's different. Well, now we're friends. This is my friend now.
Right.
We're
right.
cool.
He's not your friend.
I get what you're saying, but in my mind, it's already established that we're friends. You get what I'm saying? So now later on in this relationship thing that we have, where I'm just seeing us as friends, and now you want more, I can't do that because I don't see you like that. You're
so
my
that's
friend.
what he would say. Like,
You
why
gotta
would
cut
you
that
still?
friendship.
Yeah,
You do. You should.
But they don't.
I'm gonna cut her off.
That's good.
I'm gonna cut her
Yeah.
off.
It's gonna
Like
get
as
weird.
soon as the signs start happening, I'm done.
like
Right.
it never occurred in your mind, in
Like,
the
so
woman's
in the woman's
mind.
mind, yes, it's never occurred that this is going to go into a sexual
No,
thing.
meaning no, it never occurred in your mind that once he said that, like, this dude was never my friend. He was always had a goal.
It should then. It
Well,
should,
yeah,
but
it would
may not.
after after they do what they do.
But it's
yes.
like CJ said, it's something that still be like, that's just my friend. Now
I'm
you
gonna
know
cut
it.
her offer though, so
Yeah.
I'm not taking it. As soon as you show signs, we're done. You know,
And that's good for
but
you
that's
because you married.
but that's well, yeah. Absolutely.
You don't want your husband to hurt nobody.
Well, yeah. But I don't think we're being naive. We're trying to give something a chance.
Yeah.
We're hoping that this can be more than just some statistical average bullcrap that you're dealing with. You're hoping that something can be beyond a physical thing. You really are hoping that. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
We really want to give a chance that this isn't just some animalistic statistical thing that happens. But most of the time it does. It's a shame. It really is sad, frankly. But if that's what it is, then that's what it is. Now we're nothing.
I had this happened to me with a few clients, right? Now I'm telling you from a man's perspective, where all right, one girl really liked me, wanted to be friends with me, was buying stuff and sending me lunch and all that kind of stuff. And then when I noticed it was like, I think she liked me or something. I didn't come right out and say it, but once she kind of like started hinting at that, I had to tell her like, look, I ain't interested. Now, somebody would laugh and say, I don't find her very attractive. So maybe that's why somebody would think I'm not interested. However, there was a very, very attractive woman that was on my top for like 2 years, right? And I also said, I'm not interested, right? one of the reasons why I wasn't interested, she just too. I mean, one, I have a situation first and foremost, but two,
you have a frequency. He's on a frequency.
No, not like that. Right? But like sometimes women just be too aggressive, right? So and then you're too aggressive with it, and you just coming at me a certain way.
Yeah,
I don't think it's cute at all.
Yeah,
even though you are attractive,
right?
I can see the headache coming.
I got you.
I don't want the headache.
Absolutely.
Like, and you're not gonna come make my life a big burden. It's like, you know what? That's just not. Don't even go there with me. And
very
then,
smart.
Yeah, but
smart.
That a lot of times I've seen women like, and this happened with one of my friends where is a dude, he like her, and I'm telling from the door, I said, yo, that nigga like you. No, we just friends. I said, listen, that nigga ain't coming all the way over here to hang out and spending money, and that's not how men work.
Right,
and she's just like, and mind you, I don't respect it because I'm the type of dude, I go through the front door. I don't go to the back door with anything. Right? So if I like you, I'm going to let you know from the rip. If you ain't with it, cool, then I just step off. That's it. It ain't no hard feelings or nothing. But some dudes don't want to take no for an answer.
Right.
And now, to me, it's sick when women, they know that there's, like, it's something impulsive about that, but then they take it like, oh, he's just really into me that much that he's just persistent. He ain't persistent. You just like impulsive people. You know what I'm saying? Like, but she goes on and continues to entertain this nonsense from this dude until he finally comes out and makes a move on her.
Okay.
And then she did not want to admit to me, like, you know what, you was right. When she finally said, you was right. Now she got to cut that nigga off now.
Yeah.
But at that point, well, he's my friend. That's not your friend, though.
Right.
Right. Like, that's just not your friend. You're going to get in more trouble. You're going to have a stalker on your hands.
Yeah. Yeah.
But to me, I be thinking, like, people just be that desperate that they just want the friendship. I don't have no problem cutting the friendship off. Like, if you start tripping, you on some other shit. Like, my
loss. You get lost. That was my friend.
My best friend all through high school, we was like freaking frat coming up. That nigga did not claim one of his children. I ain't fuck with that nigga since. And we'll speak if I see him, but we don't hang out. Now we talking 20, 25 years. I don't talk to this nigga. And that's just, you don't take care of kids, I don't mess with you. That's it.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing with women. Like, yo, now you cross a border, a boundary, that's it. And I don't think people develop proper boundaries in their lives.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's what I'm saying about getting married and getting in relationships at older ages.
But who wants these 50-year-old women?
That's what I was about to say.
50-year-old men.
Listen.
Yeah, I'm just being honest. I'm not saying that for me.
I said everybody's getting married at that age. I didn't just say we were. I said y'all are too.
They don't want to do that.
Nah.
Now, no, listen.
Ain't no, that's a fact what he said.
I understand that people don't want to do that. I am just telling you that I feel like the success rate would be better. Whatever anybody tries to do after or does after that, that's on you. Mm-hmm. I'm just telling you what I'm witnessing.
This is the thing with that, right? Mm-hmm. The older a man get, the broader his horizon gets with women. The older a woman get, the narrower it gets for women. That's just how it is.
They don't like when we say that.
Nope. Because you're older now.
Is that offensive?
Not to me, because I don't accept it. But
you don't accept that statement?
I don't accept what you just said. To me, you can have statistics, sayings, quotes, all you want. Mm-hmm. But it's up to me to accept what you just said.
You're right.
If I accept what you said, something's going to happen inside of me, right? Mm-hmm. That's going to cause me to start behaving in a way, or my body's going to start accepting what you just said. Mm-hmm. I don't accept. I'm growing backward. I'm going backwards in age, look, energy level, all of that, because I choose that.
Right. Good.
So if I were to accept statistics, then we all might as well just hang it up.
Well, not just I in my opinion, I think God forbid something happened with you and your husband, right? Mm-hmm. But if you ended up single again, I think you'd have a better chance at getting a really good relationship because you got some sense.
Yeah, that's
right. But I'm telling you, nobody want a 50-year-old some woman that don't got no damn sense. I'm telling you from
well, that don't got no sense. No, you just added something to it, but you know.
That hasn't grown.
Yeah,
still had that
there's nothing wrong with a 50-year-old
mentality.
I get it.
It's the mentality.
Okay, so I'm hearing something that.
And also, all right. So here's the other thing. Like I've met women.
Don't got no damn sense.
I've met women that are in their 30s and they look like they in their late 50s. Right. So if I meet a woman,
that's what I'm saying. There's all kind of variables to all of this. So how you can blanketly say this equals that? No, I don't.
No, it's not that. But some things are truths.
Yeah,
like, there's more women than men.
Some things can be truths.
No,
some things can be truths.
That's a fact. There's more women than men.
Oh yeah.
That's a fact.
Yes,
all right.
agree
So
with that.
as we all get older, right? Your tolerance level for immaturity, is lessons.
That's true.
Right?
Yeah. I agree.
Right. And the lessons on my end too.
Okay.
Now my thing is if and they don't like to hear this, but if I'm in my 40s and if the women available to me are also in their 40s, in their 50s, in their 20s, in their 30s, right?
They just
that's just a reality,
yes,
right? Not saying that there's 50-year-old women that can get with 20-year-old men.
Yes.
Most times you're not going to want to unless you just looking to frequent something. Right. Now, but if you want something mature, you got to look in that pool where I'm at. Right. Now, here's the thing. If you're not matching my maturity level, I don't want to deal with that shit. Because if I'm going to get an immature woman, I'm going to get an immature woman with some stamina and some lips. You know what I'm saying? Why am I going to get a 50-year-old immature woman?
Yeah,
that's
I
logic.
agree. I understand.
You know what I mean?
People assume also too that by the time of 50, you got some type of sense or something together? Like you don't got nothing together.
Not always, exactly.
Yeah, but that's the natural assumption. It's like, oh yeah, you 50.
Yes,
that's good.
Yes.
Then when you hear them talk, like, oh no, this isn't good at all. This was a mistake.
Yeah.
Wow. But I get it.
Not just refer to women, but men also.
Men too. I agree.
It's like, oh my God, this is a big kid.
Yeah, because you see some men and their pants are sagging and they dress like they 15 and it's like, seriously?
That's why, in that case, what CJ mentioned is that if women outnumber men, so say women, like even now, 6-1, right? So our chances are better.
Yeah.
She said she don't accept that.
This is you gotta accept.
No, that's a fact.
I gotta do nothing.
It's true.
I don't gotta do nothing.
No, it's like, hey man, it's only one of you. It's 5 of them.
Yeah.
Well, she don't accept that.
Listen, I ain't competing with nobody.
The reason why me and CJ know that is because we know that older women in the mass shit are having a hard time getting husbands. It's a lot. A lot of them. Okay. And they just cannot get a husband.
And you said older?
Yeah, in the 50 range, which you mentioned. Okay. And older.
Now, what would you say
what I say
going on? What would you say is going on? I mean, from your observation.
My observation, what I just mentioned. Some people don't want to deal with that mentality at 50.
Gotcha.
And some people feel like you just older and I want a younger looking woman.
Okay.
Or you know, and now where I come from, I take the young one and the old one. You know what I'm saying? But I'm I'm just being honest.
The young one and the old one.
Yeah, now, I'm not gonna say like I'm doing you a favor by it.
I cannot
but it's
wait
like,
until the what do you call it? The age level of people dying stretches out further. So y'all can stop saying 50-year-olds are old.
No. I don't think 50's old.
No,
I don't think that
so
old.
either.
I'm just saying if I have to, it's no different. If two people is standing far away, they don't know me and Khalil. They're gonna say the skinny one and the fat one. It is what it is. It's not like a.
Oh, you saying old one, young one?
Yeah, that's it. Ain't like one's better than the other.
I don't like it, but okay.
Yeah,
I hear you.
Some things you just have to. I could, like you said, I don't have to accept that. You're right. I don't have to accept what comes with it. Mm-hmm. I had to accept a long time ago. I'm fat. It's what it is. Been fat my whole life. I don't gotta carry myself like a fat nigga, right? I don't have to be insecure like fat niggas, and I'm not. So that's what I mean by it. But the fact is, I'm fat. Okay. So what? You know what I mean? So if I meet a woman, well, not if I do, because I'll be honest, I got a good woman. Now, a little bit stubborn, a lot of it, but at the end of the day, none of the headache that I had to put up with from other people. So to me, that's where I find the value at. Okay. Now, in the past, when I used to like a little spicy, crazy shit, right? And I still might like that a little bit. It don't outweigh what my ultimate thing is. My ultimate thing is I want peace. Right. So that's a value for me. But I was so used to going through bullshit for years, like I just thought that's how you communicate. Gotcha. You know what I'm saying? Like if you ain't struggling through some shit, then it ain't real love.
That ain't real. Right.
But, but my thing is, this is how men's brains work. I ain't never going, I don't be active. I've never been actively shopping for women. But if I meet something and it work, I take it. Ain't too much headache, I take it. So it's like if you think like this, right? If somebody said, yo, what's your dream car?
A Range Rover.
All right, cool. Why you don't have a Range Rover right now?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
Because I haven't really focused my attention on it.
It costs a lot of money though, right?
Huh?
It does cost a lot of money.
Yeah, oh yeah. Absolutely. Okay. Absolutely.
Now, so if I told you, like you got bills now, you got a car payment probably and a mortgage and all that, right? Yes. If I say, yo man, you can get this brand new Range Rover over here for $200 a month. You take it? Yeah. You'll find a way to figure that shit out, right?
I'm taking every Range Rover.
You know, I'm taking it. Yes. Now, so if I give you the Range Rover for $199 a month.
Yeah.
Man,
you done dropped it $1.
Yeah. So like, let's say later on.
Look at this deal.
Next year I say, yo, Lisa, that Range Rover now, I need $1,200 a month for that. No. Take this motherfucker back, right?
Right.
That's how we look at women.
Oh my God.
I mean, honest with you. That's how I look at it. Like, yo, if I can take it and ain't no headache, I do it. How much it costs? How much it down? Yeah, I can take it. But if it's gonna be a headache, nah, I'm good.
Yeah, that's what.
Once it become a headache, nah, I'm good. Cause I can easily just go get
another model.
Yeah, it costs less.
Another frequency.
Yeah, and I might love that Range Rover. Like love it to death, but it's causing too much headache.
If I know when the people come to you, it's different scenarios. Or some of those like patterns, like with CJ and myself express, like with women, like like that type of. I don't want to deal with that type of frustration as far as like attitude, nagging. Is it those type of things, or is it like?
No, it's them because we're not talking about relationships. Like you're focused on relationship. They're talking about themselves. Okay. When they come to me, they're talking about themselves. That's why I'm saying by the time you're coming to me, it's because you have gotten to a place where you're sick and tired of a lot of stuff you've been dealing with. Yeah. And you tried this and you tried that, you tried this, you did that, you manipulated this, you did that, and none of it worked. Mm-hmm. So now you're willing to look at yourself. You're going in now and you're looking to understand what is happening.
Mm. So the person like is me. They take that approach? Like,
yeah.
No, then that's good.
They're taking self-responsibility and they're ready to...
Because it's always you.
It's always you. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter who else... Because when you're relating to somebody else, you're relating to that person. Whatever you're witnessing, not witnessing, all of that, it's still about you. Mm. Because you're processing it through your own mind in order to interact with that person. So like if you say to me, even judgment or whatever, you look at my sweater and you say, I would never wear... or she looked... whatever, in orange or whatever. You think you're judging me, but you first judge yourself because you said you wouldn't wear orange. You're processing what you like about orange. You don't like orange. You don't like orange. So you look at me and say, this, that, and the other, but you judged yourself first.
You're right.
So how you're looking at somebody else is always based on what's going on inside of you.
And so you nicer than me because when people do that shit to me, and I tell them, well, nigga, you ain't the one wearing it. Like,
I mean, ultimately, you can say that. I'm just saying the person is perceiving that they're talking about you.
And that's usually insecurity.
Yeah, when in actuality, they already process through themselves what they can and cannot wear. You know what I mean? So, and they're projecting it that way.
So you reprogram them?
Yeah.
Reprogram.
Yes.
That's what it sounds
No,
like.
it's a funny word, but it does.
I mean, yeah. But
Yeah,
that's
it
because,
sounds like
but
reprogramming yourself.
I'm not telling them what the new program is. They're telling me. They're saying, I have a problem right here. This is what I want to believe. Here's what's happening. And then what will tend to happen very naturally is they'll automatically start talking about how they came to the place or how they're still in the place of what they don't want, which will always go back to childhood or some events that happened.
So is
in the past.
Your reprogramming brain fixing, does it cost a lot of money?
$250 for 1 hour.
That ain't bad. I know quite a few people I'm gonna recommend to you. Seriously, I know a lot of people need it.
I mean, bottom line is, you're gonna spend. You could go. Well, I don't want to name any professions, but I'll just say you can deal with it from a subconscious level in 15 minutes, or you can deal with it on a conscious level, a surface level that's not getting to the root for years. So, it's your choice.
All right, this question I meant to ask you last time you was here, and I forgot. Right? Who reprogrammed you?
I did.
You did?
Yeah, I do all. I do have mentors, and I have gone to brain balancing people. So I've gone to 2 actually.
That's good.
And they were wonderful.
What's the success rate?
100%. 100%.
Because I know people want to ask
because with the brain balancing in particular, the success rate is 100%, and that's what I mean by you're not leaving me guessing as to whether or not you downloaded the new program. We do something called muscle testing. When you're muscle testing, we are testing the subconscious mind to see whether or not it actually downloaded the new program. If it didn't, then there's something off in what you're saying, what you're believing, but we're getting to the root of that in our conversation that takes place before we download the new program. But muscle testing is how you're testing for whether or not it was downloaded. You don't leave me without knowing that you downloaded it. And then what's going to start happening is, now everybody's different, so I don't want to give a guaranteed something's going to happen in 24 hours, but people start experiencing the shifting of that subconscious program immediately. I mean, it first happened right then and there in the room. You start experiencing within yourself the change from what you were believing to what you're believing, and you can start so this is a neurological shift that takes place in your body.
Yeah, I was going to say,
and you're feeling it.
Listen, it sounds like you're trying to hypnotize me.
No, I'm not. Listen, I'm not trying to do anything. Either you come because you want to, or you don't come at all. I don't force anybody to do anything. Whatever you want to do, you do. I mean, it's that simple. Don't come. I'm not stressing either way. I know how to do it to myself, so you know what I'm saying. And I have access to people that know how, so I'm not stressing.
Nah, look, you sound like me. Only good, like when I say it, that nigga, you know everything. He rude. He arrogant. Like,
I said what I said. Yeah. Like I just.
I don't think people used to people being that straightforward anymore. They want everybody to like.
Baby.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I understand because it's difficult for me. Like, I'm not a marketer advertiser with my business, right? So it's hard for me because that's not. Here we go again with, I understand what my values are. My values are the outcome that I'm able to provide, right? It's very valuable to me to assist people, to be able to move from something that's hindering them, that's blocking them, to freedom, basically. But my value is not marketing and advertising. So you don't see me out on Facebook constantly trying to promote and content and all of this because it's not my value. So part of that is very difficult for me because I'm like, you know, when I'm inspired to say something, I say it. If I'm not inspired to say it, I don't. So I'm like, okay, how is this going to work? You know what I mean? But then I might get a call from you to tell me to show up here, and you know what I'm saying? Like that's how it goes, because I'm learning to trust in the value that in not stepping out and doing things that are against my values as I have in the past, because it doesn't work for me. So I just have to trust in how the process goes. But another thing that happened yesterday along the lines of, I had a conversation with a doctor. His name is Dr. Russell Kennedy. He calls himself the Anxiety MD. This along the lines of, when you're hearing me talk or you're hearing me tell you this is possible, this can go like this. I was just saying to my husband, I think people are looking for some type of lightning bolt experience or whatever over these major shifts that happen neurologically. It don't happen like that. It's quiet. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like I can be in my bedroom and 1 minute I was thinking one thing or in a state of believing something that was really causing me a block or a hindrance, and I know how to shift into another state of being. It's that quiet. You know what I mean? But it's like, I think people are looking, their expectation is some type of maybe miracle or miraculous event.
Too many movies, man.
Yeah, they watch too many movies. Because I was just talking to a doctor. We had an almost hour-long conversation about his book. And he takes you through this process. I highly recommend the book, by the way. It's called Anxiety RX. And he takes you through this process of basically coming back into your body. And what I mean by that is paying attention to what he calls the alarms that are happening inside of your body, signifying something's going on, right? And he takes you through this process. And as you're working this process, applying the book, not just reading it, applying the book, you are able to, and I'll back up a little bit, thought plus emotion together equal a momentum of a life form that's about to take place, that you're about to engage in, right? That's what we're all dealing with. Thought, emotion together equals your characteristics of who you are, what you put your hands to, what manifests into reality, right? He assists you to understand that thought and emotion don't have to connect, that there's a space in between where you don't have to allow the alarm that's going on in your body to connect to the thought that would assist that to gain momentum, and therefore you're suffering and experiencing.
You just cut it off.
You can cut it off, right? Yeah. And as you're working with this was my experience. As you're working with this, instead of you spending all your time in the past in your mind, because you're seeking to escape the body and go into the mind by trying to remember something in the past and worry about that, or trying to figure something out in the future and get all whatever about that, you're not doing that anymore. So now you're in this present tense reality. You're in the present. Like you're not living in the past or the future. So your thoughts, the thoughts that are reeling all the time, and they're like incessant or constant thought reeling all the time, it ceases. It stops. So now you're in control of your decision. Now you can pick up thought and put it down like a tool. You can pick up emotion and put it down like a tool. It's not running you because you understand this process. We just had that conversation, and I was telling my husband, who's going to really know what I just said unless you apply it? Yeah. You're not going to know what I said unless you apply it. And I said something on Facebook. I said, I'm going to stop asking people, did you read the book? I'm going to ask, did you apply the book? It doesn't matter if you read the book. If you didn't apply the book, what difference does it make? Yeah. But I'm talking about for $9.99, you can go get this book. And this book will change your life. Now, I said what I said. You know what I'm saying? Like, this ain't no lightning bolt, but this is what I'm thinking people are thinking. Yeah. I'm like, you get ready to change your life for $9.99.
Yeah, I'm going to get that book.
But either you listen to me or you don't. Like, I used to get so like, oh, look at this, they're not listening. Yeah. I'm like, you know what? I can't, I'm going to be over here doing me. Because I can't, I just don't, that's not my value, is to try to convince anybody. The only thing I can do is experience it for myself and live my life. You know what I mean? And that's it.
I'm going to check that book out. the book that did it for me.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when you were saying before, I don't know if you remember, I told you I went to therapy and all that.
Mm-hmm.
That helped me a lot because when I went, I initially went because I was trying to resolve an issue between me and someone.
Okay.
But then when the therapist sat me down and she said, "Yo, man, don't worry about the issue, worry about you." It's all right. Now, once I started doing it, later on, I was able to recognize that, yo, don't matter if the other person's doing the work because they're not really doing the work. It's about me. So I benefited from it.
Right.
But I read this book. I don't know who the hell told me to read it. Might have been from the Breakfast Club or something. You ever heard this book by Mark Manson, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck?
Yes. I think it's in my audio playlist.
That is the best book ever.
Really?
I've listened to that like 5 or 6 times.
Okay.
And everybody I tell to listen to, it works.
Oh, okay.
They don't listen to it.
Don't.
But the few people that have, they say, yo, man, that makes a lot of sense.
Okay.
And they've understood why I think the way that I think.
Yes.
Now, crazy thing is, the principles in the book, I've always felt that way. But at one point, people always telling me how much of a smart ass I am and an asshole. I start believing them, like, oh, maybe I shouldn't be like that. But that just confirmed to me, no, how I think ain't really that bad. Because this is what the guy's telling you, like, yo, if you don't put value on those things, it don't exist. It don't mean nothing. But when you were talking earlier, when you first started talking, you said that, I forget what it was you said, but it made me think, like, yo, you sound really content. Right, and it made me think of there's a saying in Islam in Arabic says to say Alhamdulillah wa ala kulli hal, right, and that means that all praise is due to Allah, no matter what my state is, good or bad, right? Now, I told a friend of mine one time, I said, because we were talking about relationships and all that stuff.
That's so beautiful.
It
really is.
Yeah, and so I mentioned this to her. I said, yo, if you just master contentment, then you'll be all right.
Yes.
You know what this woman said to me? She said, I don't know. When you said that to me the other day, it made me think that you were trying to tell me, like, I should just settle. And I said, no.
And this was actually because when I came into this state of being present like this, I struggled for a minute because I said, wait a minute, I don't want anything. I don't want. Want and desire has left. But what came in immediate was like, in the now is complete. There is no need in now. There's no need in the present tense moment. And once I understood that, I was like, okay, you know what I mean? But initially, the fear, because you're used to living with something for so long. You're used to living in the past. You're used to living in the future. You're not controlling anything by doing any of it. You know what I mean? So I had to remember, first of all, you're okay, Lisa. You know what I mean? You're still here. Nothing's happened, you know. But the completeness of now is where I am now. And I'm learning to accept it, you know, because it's not something I'm used to as consistently. Like I was used to that feeling being fleeting. But now that I know how to attain it, I know how to do it, I am learning how to be content. So I understand her fear is what I'm saying of saying that, because that's what that is. Because you're thinking you're supposed to want something. We're taught we're supposed to want.
You're always supposed to be pushing for something. What's next?
But you know what I realized? In part of why I'm able to be content and really in gratitude about it is because I've wanted and I've gotten. I've wanted and I've gotten what I wanted. I've desired and I've gotten what I wanted. As soon as I was done getting what I wanted, I wanted something else. So if that's going to be the cycle, I'm not good. It doesn't feel good to me. And it's like, why would I want to be in a constant state of want and desire all the time? But I had to come to that place. Well, not had to. I mean, that's just where I've grown to, because I witnessed what I was doing and I witnessed how it felt inside of my body. And I was like, I don't like this. This doesn't feel good to me. And so as soon as I started saying that, a door opens to say, here you go.
So why do you think people get the idea that contentment and settling is the same?
Because
they just don't. Yeah. They just haven't come to that understanding. The contentment. Yeah, they're in fear of missing something because they're taught you're supposed to want something more, because something means something to society. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But we're as beings, we're beyond this. We're not this. We're not these physical beings. Yeah. You know what I mean? We're beyond that. Mm-hmm. And because if you're not tapped into that, or you don't care about it, you don't understand it, then you're here. You're trapped here. Right. Mm-hmm. You're caught here, and all the systems that
you're on the rat race.
Yeah.
There's a scholar, a famous scholar in Islam named Imam Ghazali, right? And that's what he's famous for teaching people
about crushing the desires,
the inner desires and stuff.
Wow.
But what I tell people is like, yo, you work all your life to get to the top of the mountain, right? Once you get to the top of the mountain, then you go back down. You gotta go back up, right? And once you figure out like you always gonna be in that cycle, that's not settling. Like, because people come up, they put value in the letters in front of their name or behind their name, how many degrees I have, and who my spouse is, or what I do for a living. Those are things that you do. That's not who you are.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And once you understand who you are, and your value isn't based on some persona that you created or however people see you, then you can have those things and really appreciate it.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Because all the other stuff is a character.
Mm-hmm. That's what I think. I personally believe that a lot of people put on a character.
Yeah.
They're not themselves.
Exactly.
Yeah. And that's what really nags the heck out of me about people.
Yeah. Well, they don't know. They don't know that that's what they're doing. Mm-hmm. I mean, some people
because in our realm, in our realm, you got people that's trying to sound like this guy.
Oh, you doing Muslim world?
Yeah, and speak like this guy, and they actually lose who they actually are.
Yeah.
So when we run into the person, we like, man, what the heck happened to? Why are you talking like that? Why are you sounding like that?
In the Muslim world, right, you find a lot of dudes. And they be real smart, real knowledgeable dudes, but you grow up with them your whole life, and then they go overseas. They learn. They come back, and they start speaking with an accent, like they're foreigners. Right?
Come on, man.
What happened? I knew you would come around the corner.
Because they forget that it might be different over here, but here nothing has changed.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So when you coming back into this environment, see how long you'll last with the people here, because they're not trying to hear that type of speech you talk. It's a totally different atmosphere over there than it is here.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
but everybody has to have their experiences. There was a young lady who posted something on Facebook that made a lot of sense to me. She said, people really don't want to accept your experiences. They want to have their own. And really, we're robbing them of having that if we're trying to push something on them, because whatever their experiences are for them to have is for them to have.
That's good.
You know what I mean? And when I heard that, I said that makes a lot of sense, that you are really robbing someone, because actually for you to come to the state of being you're in right now, it took time, and it was a process. Nobody could have come and made you be anything other than who you are right now based on everything that happened before that.
I think also a lot of teachers and mentors fail to mention that is that, listen, the way you see me, the way I am now, it took some time for me to get that. So you can't just jump from there to here that immediately. Like how your mind wants you to be. Like, I want to be just like Lisa. Right? And you're like, no, it took some time to get where I'm at. How long it's going to take you, I don't know.
Exactly. So when somebody tells me or asks the question, how long did it take for you? I'll say that's not a fair question for you to be asking, because my level of commitment, when you really think about when you lay in the bed at night and what you're processing, I can't take you through all of that. I don't even remember. I don't even remember what was happening on these days that caused me to be contemplating this, that, and the other, that caused me to do this. you know what I mean? It's unfair to judge each other like that. Mm-hmm. So there's no way. Now I can tell you, if I sit and I try to process it, I can say, okay, there's step 1, and then there's step 2, and step 3, because everything does really have a process if you sat and thought about it. Mm-hmm. But even that, still, that's me.
Yeah, everybody's process is different.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, you're actually absolutely right, because it took me just the process of learning how to cut hair, maybe a year and a half, 2 years, just to get where I could get somebody out of the chair presentable. Mm-hmm. I've had students, and I've taught them, and they be the same time frame. I had one kid came here one day, took him 9 months. Okay. You know what I'm saying? So everybody thing is different,
right?
But it's that insecurity that makes you look at what somebody else is doing, and or you want to compete with somebody and say, "Oh, well, I'm just as smart as Lisa, so I should." Whatever her time frame is, I should be able to get it done in that amount of time or better.
Quicker, right.
And it's like, yo, they don't have nothing to do with you.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
well, I would say too, or wouldn't you say, that while you're cutting hair, you're thinking something. Mm-hmm. There's something going on. Like there's a state of being happening inside of you where you want the person to have the perfect cut. Mm-hmm. Or, there's something happening inside that's not being
that's a good way to equate it, because I tell people all the time, like, and I've been cutting hair since 1994, right? I learned one way, I master that way, and while I'm cutting, I'm figuring out how can I get this done faster. I got to try another way. Okay. Now I try that way, I master that way. Now I'm gonna try this way. Now this is gonna work on white people here. Does this work on Spanish people here? So that's my process. Mm-hmm. But so you're absolutely right. When somebody else asks me, I'm like, yo, you might not approach this the way I do.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So like usually, like when people say to me, they say, well, for instance, I get a client that moves somewhere and they say, can you go on Instagram and look at these people's haircuts so I can find a new barber? I say, yo, I can't pick out good barbers that way. Because ultimately I can show you, like, whatever somebody puts on Instagram, that's their best work.
Yeah, they're not going to put the crap and stuff.
I don't see how you arrive at that.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? Gotcha. So, and I never forget, I remember one time, it's a really, really, really popular Instagram barber that I know. Real good dude, white dude. Mm-hmm. We had a function here, like one of those barber powwow things. He came up here. Now, everybody looks up to him and they think he one of the best barbers ever. I sat and watched him do a basic bald fade. It took him an hour and a half.
Whoa.
And I said, damn.
Hour and a half.
Yeah, now he got it done.
Okay, yeah.
And it was nice. But I'm like, bro, I can do that in 15 minutes. You know what I'm saying? But the value in the however he processes, how he arrives at that point, to me, that haircut better cost $100. If I spend $100, if I spend an hour and a half on it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But, or maybe he was just taking long because we was in a function. I don't know. Mm-hmm. But what I arrived at, I watched him in his process. He went through every single tool on his station. Where me, you could give me 2 clippers and a comb and I could get that done in 15, 20 minutes. But that's because our processes are different. But people only look at the result. They don't look at.
That's what I was trying to say.
Yeah, me, I'm looking at the process. I like to watch other barbers cut hair.
That's what I was trying to say.
See how they
people look at the result,
and that's how I measure. Like literally, this ain't no cocky thing. But when people say who's the best barber to you, I only think there's one barber better than me. Like literally, there's only one person I can think of that's better than me, and that's only because in his process he approaches things almost to the same level I do. Mm-hmm. But there's one thing he can do I can't do. And that's why I say, yo, he's better than me. Okay. But I don't look at the final result because I got good days, bad days. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And that's why I'm back to what we originally talking about. There's no need to compare yourself to other people because you don't know how they're arriving at that point.
Yeah, that's what I don't like. Because a lot of people see our relationship, like me and Kiva's relationship, and they don't. And they think, like, his wife will see that. This is an example, but not saying hypothetical. She'll see how we are on Facebook with this and stuff. And
you mean not literally? I don't want to get cussed out. So
he said hypothetical.
I know, but I'm reiterating.
Right?
Yes.
And so she'll go to him and say, "Why we can't be like them and be like that?" And you're like, "No, it took time."
Be like was a lot of work. It was a lot of
and it's like that.
processing
Even if you look at the comments, not just on their pictures and their photos, but you'll see when even if it's the celebrities and they put out like these pictures, and then later on when they break up, people like, oh man, y'all look like the perfect couple. I'm like, yo, that's what it looks like.
Yeah, nothing is perfect.
Yeah,
nothing. If you no. Yeah, and I was just thinking about how people follow, certain leaders and gurus and stuff like that. And I'm like, when I think about myself and somebody looking at me or following me, I'm like, you can't do that. Because no sooner than I learn something, another door opens to learn something else. And another door opens to because that's the type of person I am. I'm not stationary in my learning. You know what I mean? I'm looking to keep growing and expanding, and so you're trying to catch up with me. You're not, because my value is to keep going. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I can't stay right here where you might have found me, because I done moved 10 steps ahead like last night. You know what I mean?
You might be disappointed about something you see me
do. Exactly. Because I just can't, and that's where I was talking about like that marketing and advertising thing. Because I have put myself in positions where I said, I do this, or this is my package. And then I'm like bored as I don't know what, you know what I mean? Because my mind's not being challenged anymore, and I need to keep going.
But you know what though? My suggestion to you, because you probably, it would benefit everyone if you did have content and stuff. So if you make your advertising be this is my reality, this is my real life, right? I'll give you an example. So there's a whole bunch of barbers that do women's hair just like I do.
Yes.
Right? They're great at what they do. I always get their pictures. When they come in here, they show me this person, that person. And I be knowing them dudes, right? And they'll say, well, how come you don't put your stuff out like that? Here's the thing, I ain't them niggas, right? So some people get my sense of humor, some people don't. But if you look at my pictures, my videos, I'm in here roasting my clients, I'm joking with them. Some people don't like that. No big deal. But a lot of people understand it. I can relate. They can relate to it. And then I end up getting clients based on, yo, he's just being his authentic self. You either like it or you don't.
Yeah.
Right. There is a market for that, because especially in the field that you're in, I'll be honest with you, what made me relate to that Mark Manson book was the fact that he cursed. You know what I'm saying? Like I took it like, not just the title, but all throughout the book, he just cursed and he kept it real. Yeah. I personally don't feel comfortable around people who don't curse.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, and not that I like vulgarity. Like some people, they don't curse, but like he don't really curse like that. Yeah, no.
He chooses his environment.
But he's careful with, and I respect that because that's naturally him. But when I know niggas that ain't really you, right? You know what I mean? So that's what I mean. Like if you was to market that, you would be a hit. Yeah, you get some TikTok videos. Reality. Yeah, market reality, because that's all I do. Yeah. And then I gotta hear bullshit from people like, oh yeah, you always trying to be on this keeping it real. I said, no nigga, that's me. Anybody, if you know me, that's me.
Right.
I'm gonna say exactly what I think all the time. Sometimes it's good, sometimes I probably shouldn't say a damn thing, but I'm gonna say it. You know what I mean?
I get it.
Yeah, well,
I get it.
And I think it'd be really well. Like, I mean, you should be on TikTok too, because you know Facebook.
Yeah, I tried TikTok, but you know what? I think that, to your point, I'm a teacher. You know what I mean? And I'm so busy teaching that
just record your teachings.
It's not relating. So like the conversation between me and the doctor, like I'd rather record that and put it on TikTok than me sitting there trying to do these 3-minute teaching. You know what I mean? That it's just not flowing the way I want it to.
I totally agree with you. Really, that's not my thing either. It feels just not real. It feels fake. But what we do here, we take regular conversation like this. All right, so this is what, an hour and a half long, right? And I'll go in the joint and I'll just take a little clip of that.
See, I'd rather do that.
Yeah, it works.
than these. I mean, even though when I do get on TikTok, I don't know what I'm about to say, but I'm able to. Okay, here's where I'm starting. Here's where I'm ending. Here's what I'm saying in between. But it's still coming off like a teacher. You know what I mean? And then when I look back at it, I'm like, You know what I mean? So I can understand why somebody else would think the same way. But I get what you're saying. And
you gotta get one of your kids to just follow you around.
Yeah.
Be your videographer with the camera and just record you.
Yeah, you're right.
You know,
I could probably get my 19-year-old to do that. He'd probably love to do it. I'm gonna catch her off guard.
They're real tech savvy too.
Yep, absolutely.
Yep.
But what you think, gentlemen? You think that we covered?
Yeah, good. I know you're tired. We can give you
a lot of bases.
We appreciate you coming.
No problem. No problem at all. Anytime, actually, because I enjoy this type of conversation. I enjoy not knowing what I'm going to talk about.
So it's always like that.
That's the to me, that's what the appeal is of this.
Yeah.
So we ain't super popular yet, but the little audience that we do have, it works because real conversations happen that way. I didn't know what, like I had an idea what I was gonna ask you, but everybody does that. We say, yo man, come out of the shop. They were like, yo, what's the topic? I'm like, I don't know.
Everybody answers that,
Yeah, I don't know. You know?
And we don't like to usually do that because they'll know what it is and they'll try to prepare for it, and it wouldn't be like really. They'll be like them script.
Yeah.
It's like it's not authentic.
Yeah, I flow better that way, and as we're talking about, just like with the doctor, I didn't know what I was going to ask him, but one question led to another, just like we're doing, and I love that.
That's good.
That's the thing.
We definitely appreciate you.
Yeah.
Appreciate
and
you.
Well, thank you.
Appreciate you. Absolutely. Your presence. Yes.